Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of Hinduism's most sacred texts to explore a spiritual path that's, well, a little different. It's a path that suggests you don't need years of intense discipline, but instead, you can find incredible wisdom in the most ordinary, unexpected places.
So, let's get right into it. We're going to start with a story that sounds just impossible. It's about a young boy going up against a king so powerful he had the whole universe under his thumb. This is a story of unshakable belief, terrifying power, and a divine intervention that literally shatters reality.
All right, so meet Prahlada. He's a young prince, but his devotion is about to be put to the ultimate test by the one person who should have protected him the most, his own father, the demon king, Hiranyakashipu.
Now, you gotta understand, Hiranyakashipu wasn't just some local ruler. His power was so off the charts that even the gods were afraid of him. He basically declared himself God and demanded everyone worship him. But his own 5-year-old son, Prahlada, he said no. He was devoted to Lord Vishnu, who just so happened to be Hiranyakashipu's #1 enemy. You can imagine how well that went over. The king was so furious he tried to kill his own son over and over again.
But here's the crazy part. They threw Prahlada into fire, tried to have him trampled by elephants, tossed him from cliffs, and nothing worked. Through it all, his faith was just unbreakable. When his dad screamed at him, "Where is this protector of yours?" Prahlada just calmly replied with total certainty, "My Lord is everywhere. He is in everything."
So Hiranyakashipu, just mocking him, points to this massive pillar in his palace. He sneers, "Oh really? If your God is everywhere, is he in this pillar?" And then, just to prove his point, he smashes his fist against it, basically challenging the entire universe to answer.
Well, the universe answered. The pillar cracks open with this terrifying, deafening roar, and out steps Narasimha, a being that's half man, half lion, and all fury. And in an instant, this divine form takes down the invincible king, proving that Prahlada's simple, childlike faith was the most powerful force in the room.
So what's the big takeaway from this wild story? The thing that protected Prahlada, the thing that defeated a tyrant, it wasn't a sword, it wasn't an army, it was an internal state of being. It was a connection that proved more powerful than an entire empire.
And this incredible power, this force, it actually has a name. In the yogic traditions, it's seen as the most direct, most straightforward way to connect with the divine.
It's called Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. And no, we're not talking about complicated physical poses or breathing techniques here. It's all about channeling your natural love and energy towards something bigger through simple, heartfelt actions.
And this is really what makes Bhakti Yoga stand out. You know, other paths like Ashtanga Yoga are super technical. They can take a whole lifetime of intense discipline to master. But Bhakti? The scriptures present it as the path of the heart. It's a direct line, totally accessible to anyone, because the only thing you really need to start is faith. The Bhagavatam has this beautiful way of putting it. It says that our abilities, our hands, our eyes, they find their real meaning when they're used for something more than just ourselves. Without that connection, they're like the eyes on a peacock's feather. Beautiful to look at, sure, but completely lifeless. They don't really see anything. Okay, so if this path is so direct, so accessible, where do you even begin? I mean, who's going to guide you on this journey of the heart?
Well, the answer the scriptures give is kind of surprising. And honestly, it's incredibly empowering. Turns out, your teachers are all around you, right here, right now. The text tells this amazing story of a wise sage who learned the deepest truths of the universe not from some single legendary master, but from 24 different teachers he just happened to run into. Yeah, he called them his 24 gurus. And get this, they weren't famous sages living on mountaintops. They were things like the earth, the sky, animals, and even just regular people he watched and learned from. I mean, what a powerful idea, right? It suggests that this whole spiritual journey isn't about running away from the world. It's about changing your perspective so you can see the profound wisdom that's already woven into everything around you.
So let's look at a few examples. One of his greatest teachers was a python. Yeah, a snake. What on earth could you learn from a python?
Well, the sage watched this python and noticed it doesn't run around frantically hunting. It just lies still, patient, and accepts whatever food happens to come to it. Think about that.
In our world of nonstop hustle culture, the python teaches this incredible lesson of contentment, of just being satisfied with what life brings you, without all that constant anxious effort.
He also found a teacher in the vast, mighty ocean.
Thousands of rivers are constantly dumping into the ocean. You can think of them like all the notifications, the demands, the drama of our modern lives. And yet, the ocean itself remains deep, calm, fundamentally unchanged. It teaches us to build that same kind of inner stillness, an unflappable core that isn't tossed around by every little thing.
But maybe the most unforgettable teacher was a young girl the sage saw while she was working alone, getting a meal ready for some guests.
So she's wearing these shell bangles on her wrist, and as she's working, they're making all this noise, just clashing and clanking together. It's distracting. So she takes them off one by one. But even when she's down to just 2, they still hit each other and make a sound. It was only when she wore a single, solitary bangle that she could finally work in perfect silence and focus.
And in that simple little act, the sage saw a deep, universal truth. When you have too many people, or even just 2, there's always the potential for noise, for conflict, for distraction. But for that deep inner focus, sometimes you just need to be alone, to find that quiet space with that one single bangle. Wisdom isn't hiding from us. It's right there in plain sight.
And that really is the ultimate point here. The path of devotion isn't just about believing in something you can't see. It's about opening your eyes to the incredible lessons hidden in everything you can see. From a python teaching us to be content to a single bangle showing us the power of solitude, the world is always talking to us. The only question is, are we listening?